my friends, and welcome to Star Wars for 100 Days, the ultimate fan countdown leading up to the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. We are only 18 days away from the release of the 7th chapter in the greatest sci-fi saga of all time. And to celebrate, we're going to continue to talk about the various characters of the Star Wars universe. Last time we talked about Darth Maul, who was Darth Sidious's very first apprentice. It wouldn't be until Star Wars Episode 2 that we were formally introduced to his secret second apprentice, Count Dooku, otherwise known as Darth Tyranus. Superficially speaking, I think that's the coolest thing about Count Dooku is his Sith title, Darth Tyranus. What a cool sounding name. Darth Tyranus is a very interesting character because, unlike Darth Maul, he's a lot more subdued. He's just a normal human, he's a Jedi Master, and he's incredibly manipulative and powerful. Count Dooku was known as one of the greatest swordsmen in the entire Jedi Order, and at some point in his life during this one battle, he decided that he didn't trust the Republic anymore, and he renounced his Jedi ways. It wasn't until years later that he discovered that Darth Sidious was in fact Chancellor Palpatine, and that's when he decided to fall to the dark side and become his apprentice. And they began this big plan which would involve destroying all of the Jedi and the Sith finally taking over the Republic, effectively taking over the entire galaxy. What's so great, really, about Count Dooku at the end of the day is who he's played by. Christopher Lee, classically trained actor and expert at playing villains. Francisco Scaramanga from the James Bond classic The Man with the Golden Gun, Dracula from the Hammer horror films, not to mention the evil corrupted wizard Saruman from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Christopher Lee was the perfect choice to play this villain, and what I think I love most about it is that Christopher Lee playing this character sort of like brings the entire homage to Hammer horror films like full circle. What I mean by that is in the original 1977 release of Star Wars, you had Peter Cushing, who was playing Grand Moff Tarkin, who always played the character of Dr. Frankenstein in the Hammer horror films. And the actor which actually was in the Darth Vader costume was David Prowse, who actually played Frankenstein's monster. You had two of these two classic people from the Hammer horror films, and then flash forward to 2002 Attack of the Clones, and we have Christopher Lee, who played Count Dracula, playing Count Dooku. I honestly think that George Lucas was probably a big fan of these horror films, and this was sort of his way of paying homage to them. In fact, if you want to learn a little bit more about Christopher Lee and him actually playing as Dracula, which he played well over 8 freaking times, I would highly recommend going over to Cinemassacre.com. That's the home of James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, and he does all of these horror-themed videos for Halloween, and he did a whole year on all of the Hammer horror films. So if you want to learn a little bit more about them, that's definitely the place to go, or just to watch the movies themselves. What I can say is Christopher Lee was the perfect choice to play this character. He was incredibly intimidating, and you knew just not to get in this guy's face. Episode 2 is really where he shined because we got to see him disarm Anakin Skywalker, which was a big moment for the character. Not to mention he was the very first character to actually have a lightsaber battle with Yoda. That was a really big deal at the time, and he's one of the few other Sith characters that we see in the movie outside of Palpatine who actually uses Force lightning. The only thing about Count Dooku is I think he got killed way too early and way too easily in Revenge of the Sith. Within like the first 10 minutes, he is gone. And as far as acting chops go, I have to say that in the prequel trilogy, Christopher Lee was probably the best actor. Outside of the movies, you get to see a lot from Count Dooku in the series Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is the CG animated series, which my only issue with Count Dooku in the series is just his overall design. He just looks like some sort of weird, freakish vulture. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the style they decided to go with. It is very similar to the original 2003 series, where he has a very elongated face, but still he's just as intimidating there, and you get to see a little bit more of why he is such a renowned Jedi in that series, or really, I should say, Sith Lord. So I don't think that Darth Tyranus is cooler than Darth Maul, but he certainly left an impact, and he's played by one of the most classical actors of all time, and that's definitely what makes him memorable. But what about you guys? How do you feel about the character of Count Dooku, otherwise known as Darth Tyranus? Did you have any favorite scenes from him from the movies? Did you like him in the Star Wars Clone Wars series? How about some of the spin-off comic books and novels? And make sure to tell me what you want to see from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.